Hi, my name is Huckleberry Rar and I'm an author. If you haven't been over to my shorts, you will see that I often put up a joke of the day. That is because I love jokes. I tell people I'm funny in case they didn't catch it, in case they don't know. I tell jokes in my class. Well, I tell stories when I teach to help bring the math to something that is more approachable. Yes, I teach math, not English. I tell my kids who are teenagers that I'm funny because otherwise they would never understand that I am indeed funny. I often wear funny shirts because it brings me joy. I'll have my students tell me sometimes that they do enjoy my shirts. But since I teach teenagers, that doesn't happen nearly as often as I think it should. Every now and then they'll tell me which of my shirts is their favorite, but I do like a good snarky shirt. So anyways, jokes of the day. What is the point of all this? It is not to tell you that I am funny. In case you were wondering, I am hilarious. I did a 2-part joke and I asked my editor if they liked the joke. My son actually told me to put the joke up. It's a joke that he really enjoys. And my editor was like, I don't understand the humor. And I was like, oh, okay. But sometimes humor, my editor doesn't always get the humor in jokes. So then I asked a couple of my writer friends and other friends, and one of my writer friends from Ireland, who I thought they would be like, oh, she loved it, but she's heard the joke in person. And then another friend who I thought would love the joke was like, I don't get it. And I'm finding that people who have heard the joke before really like it, and people who've never heard it are like, I don't understand. And so I'm curious, if you've seen the 2-part joke, what your thoughts are on it. Some history on this joke, or one of the reasons I love this joke, is in person, the joke works really well. I was once at a party and I told the first joke. This person comes up to me and said, a lot of people are standing around telling jokes, and this person said, I have a joke, ha ha ha. And he said, did you know that cows have a vocabulary of over 250 words? They just choose to say moo. And I'm like, yeah. So then I said, I have a joke that's worse than that. And then I told part 1 of the joke, because part 1 of the joke isn't very funny. And then this guy and I went back and forth for like 20, 30 minutes telling jokes, and everybody was in stitches. Then everyone was like, okay, we're ready for the next part of the party. We don't just want to tell jokes. I said, hold on. I have one more joke. And I told the second part of the joke. And everybody died. It was like the clinch pin. And the guy who I was telling jokes with in this like mock competition got down on his knees and was like, queen of the jokes. So this joke, it can work really well in person. I just don't know if it works as well in these videos. So anyways, I was curious what other people thought. And if you don't love the jokes, that's fine. I don't care. There's lots of jokes. They don't have to be funny. And you don't have to think I'm funny. To each their own. You don't have to have a sense of humor, as my mom used to always say.